So right now, yes, it's about repositioning Macallen in India, and this is their first official event that Macallen is doing right now in Bombay. And the idea behind the event, we started off with event in Gurgaon, now we are doing in Bombay, and then we'll be doing another one in Delhi, is to sort of bring Macallen or expose Indian consumers to the Macallen brand. I mean, Macallen, as we know, is synonymous with luxury spirit or luxury whiskey. So that's the whole idea behind the relaunch of Macallen in India. So Macallen obviously has become famous for all the crazy prices that Macallen fetches in the auction market, but there is more to Macallen than the auction prices that we get from, that captures people's imagination. I mean, what makes Macallen unique are their stills, the unique copper stills that they use, which are like amongst the smallest. I mean, they used to be the smallest in Scotland, and the small stills ensure the liquid that comes out. New make is very viscous, and that sort of adds to the aging potential of Macallen. And also the sherry casks that Macallen use. A lot of distilleries, they use ex-sherry cask. Macallen uses sherry seasoned cask, and these casks that they use, they're responsible for about 80% of the flavor that goes in a Macallen. If I were to look at an ex-sherry cask is basically typically using a cask that has held sherry before, which could be for multiple years. But sherry season is where you get a cask and then you leave it with sherry for a much lesser year. That sherry is not used for bottling a sherry or something. So that is where ex-sherry season cask comes in. But it depends on the number of years the liquid has spent in contact with the oak or the barrel. So it will decide the eventual flavor and aromas of the whiskey. So it's the stills that Macallen uses and the unique sherry seasoned cask that Macallen uses gives the spirit the unique character that makes Macallen what Macallen is. Or that's where the crazy following for Macallen is coming from. So the first whiskey that we had today was Macallen 12-year-old Triple Oak. 12-year-old Triple Oak is very similar to a classic Speyside with a lot of notes of vanilla, you have citrus, you have green apple, some melon, some spicy notes of nutmeg as well. And it's very mild on the palate and a very easy drinking whiskey that, it couldn't be your regular easy drinking whiskey with a nice medium finish on it. So the second whiskey that we tasted today is the Macallen 12-year-old Sherry Oak that has been finished in sherry seasoned casks. And it is a very sherry and a red fruit forward whiskey. When you nose it, you get lots of notes of red stone fruits as well as prunes and dates with a hint of chocolate. It has a nice viscosity and chewiness to it with about medium to long finish and a very drying finish. I think this whiskey goes well, and we paired, it will go very well with chocolate dessert. So the third whiskey that we tasted is the Macallen 15-year-old Triple Oak, which was the most premium of the three whiskeys that we tasted. And it's a very complex whiskey because when you nose it, there is so much happening on the nose that it takes a while for you to sort of understand the notes on it. But once you give the whiskey some time to open up, you get notes of citrus, sweet oranges, some dark chocolate, there is vanilla, there is cinnamon, very long finish on it, a sweet and oaky finish to it. It's a fabulous whiskey. So in the whiskey making process, stills play a very important role. Higher the still, the spirit, the new make spirit will be very refined because only the lighter vapors can travel higher. And a shorter still will have a much more intense and robust sort of a new make spirit. And that also adds to the aging potential of the whiskey. That's why a lot of Macallen expressions that are aged significantly, like 21-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old, they still retain they don't lose out the flavors to the wood.